Me? For real? Oh. You can call from the Bahamas using Rev Boy's prepaid home phone service and prepaid chat cards for much less.
Hey girl, are you ready?
You get free unlimited on-island calls, voicemail, and no internet service or ID is required.
Hello?
Rev Boy's prepaid home phone service and prepaid chat cards.
Hey, vai bien.
Staying in touch never sounded so good.
Commissioner Greenslade defends police action in recent cruise ship investigation.
Because we live in the Bahamas does not mean that we are unintelligent.
Detectives get another murder suspect off the streets. EMS officials say they're overwhelmed.
In general, there's less than 100 persons in the country.
The first of 3 victims of the Mayaguana tragedy finally laid to rest. Plus, local artists to play a role in the Airport Gateway project.
The sculptures are being refurbished with the local artist community.
I'm Nikia DeVoe, and this is NV12 Weekend. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us this Saturday for NB12 Weekend. An incident allegedly occurring over 9 months ago on a cruise ship registered in the Bahamas has recently gained international attention as media in Florida reported the alleged molestation was not fully investigated. Police Commissioner Ellison Greenslade is now speaking out on the matter. Celeste Nixon has the details in this report.
Following several international media houses reporting on an incident involving the alleged molestation of an 11-year-old girl aboard a Disney cruise ship, Commissioner Greenslade defended the actions taken by local authorities, claiming they followed the proper procedures. International articles, which highlighted the incident this week, suggested that American authorities lost their chance to pursue the matter because local police in the Bahamas released the accused man. However, Greenslade said police responded properly to the incident within the confines of the law.
Because we live in the Bahamas does not mean that we are unintelligent, does not mean that we're not capable, that we're not competent, that we cannot be efficient and effective in the discharge of our duties. We have been privy to the best training internationally, regionally, and locally, and we are very, very proud people. And I think we're going to have to, as a people, continue to stand up and not allow ourselves to always be pushed in the corner, backed in the corner, because some other people may have dropped the ball. If there's some culpability, maybe that rests somewhere else, but certainly not with the Royal Bahamas Police Force.
Greenslade said relatives of the young girl did not want to pursue criminal charges. In Bahamian law, the Crown can't pursue a matter without the willingness of the victim or witness to make a complaint.
And once it came to our attention, our officers, detectives responded, went out to the dock, and saw leadership on the ship, management/leadership, and of course security directors. Also saw the adult, the grandmother, who had responsibility for the young child at the time, and did their best to encourage them to give us a statement and to cooperate with the investigation that we were more than willing to lead. However, that support was not forthcoming, and they were clearly told that there was no need for any further action. They were satisfied that the ship had done what they should have, and they didn't want us to have any further involvement.
According to an article published on May 21st by WKMG, Port Canaveral Chief Joseph Hellebrand said his department had a detective ready to investigate when the ship returned to port, but the suspect was already en route to India. The incident allegedly occurred on a cruise ship registered under the Bahamian flag shortly after it left Port Canaveral, Florida on August 5th. The ship's security surveillance, uploaded online, shows a young girl standing in the lobby when a man with a white uniform approaches her. The girl then walks in the elevator, followed by the man, who then turns his back to the camera. Superintendent Paul Roll said yesterday police questioned the man on August 12th when the ship docked in the Bahamas, despite the fact that the family did not wish to make a complaint. Reporting for NB12, I'm Celeste Nixon.
Police revealing yesterday that one more suspect in the double murder in Kemp Road on Whit Monday is in their custody. According to head of the Central Detective Unit Superintendent Paul Roll, 21-year-old Rashad Clark, a Montgomery Avenue resident, was arrested around 3 yesterday afternoon off Market Street and is being questioned about the murders of 17-year-old Audric Talusma and 40-year-old Amadi Knowles. Two men, 19-year-old Carlin Roll and 22-year-old Sean Higgs, are on remand at Her Majesty's Prison after being charged with their murders yesterday. But Roll says there is still at least one more person of interest.
We are still looking for the suspect, Cornelius Roberts. Cornelius Roberts, we want to see him for questioning in regards to that.
Well, police also need your help closing the murder case of 42-year-old Javon Glinton, who was shot to death in front of a residence on Cordo Avenue on Wednesday. According to reports, a group of men in a silver car pulled up. One of them hopped out and shot Glinton, who died on the scene. Now, police already have two suspects in custody, a woman who was arrested at Lyndon Pindling International Airport while allegedly attempting to leave the country, and a man who was arrested in the Yamacraw area. Roll says more suspects are still at large.
We would like to see the suspect, Herbert Miller. Herbert Miller, we want to see him for questioning in regards to this. We indicated to you that we have two persons in custody already, a female whom we believe is a Jamaican national, as well as a Bahamian male.
21-year-old Dwight Smith was killed that same day, and police are also hoping to arrest the man they believe to be responsible for his murder. Smith was shot to the chest by a lone gunman in the Dignity Gardens area. He died in hospital.
We'd like to see Gibson Baptiste. He is the primary suspect in regards to that particular murder that occurred on Wednesday evening around 6 p.m.
Well, investigators are also trying to wrap up murders that occurred earlier this year. 30-year-old Jermaine Scott of Dominica Street, Golden Gates, is wanted for questioning in connection with the murder of Alejandro Bain, who was killed in Blue Hill Road South on April 20th. 23-year-old Samiko Rigby is still on the run from police. The Palm Street Tree Avenue resident is wanted for questioning in connection with the murder of Hillary Cargill, who was shot to death at his Blair residence on March 15th. The final suspect wanted for questioning in the high-profile murder case of American sailor Kyle Bruner is still at large. Roll is reminding members of the public to be on the lookout for Leo Bethel. And police want to question Romel Gray in connection with the February 4th murder of Sean Munnings in Balls Alley. The 21-year-old's last known address is William Street. Now, if you have any information on the whereabouts of any of these suspects, you're asked to call police immediately or Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS. Overworked and understaffed. That's how emergency medical services officials describe the first response teams throughout the country due to the rise in violent crime. During EMS Week, officials in both the public and private sectors hoped to attract younger technicians as well as address the many issues that plague overworked EMS personnel.
In recent times, gunshots, stabbings, blunt force injuries where someone was either hit with a object that caused them to have some kind of injury, bleeding, or those sort of stuff.
Keyshawn Turner, Assistant Coordinator of Doctors Hospital's Ambulance Department, says responding to such incidents can have very serious psychological effects on first responders, especially when the same paramedics and technicians are responding to several of these incidents in one night. Turner says there are only about 100 EMS personnel for a population of over 350,000. Lavarda Adderley said the cases of post-traumatic stress and alcoholism are high, especially among EMS personnel in the public sector.
Us coming in with very limited staff, very limited ambulance, and as well as we're just constantly going because of the numerous amount of the emergencies that are coming in.
Those images and that situation tend to stick with that person for a long time, and having that image or that situation with you can affect your family life, can affect your job performance, can affect your personal life.
But both Adderley and Turner stressed that under normal circumstances, the job is very rewarding and exciting, stating that EMS personnel save lives and sometimes bring new ones into the world. They say that stress, depression, and other serious issues plaguing EMS personnel can be decreased and even prevented with counseling and a significant increase in staff. Turner encouraged young Bahamians to consider a career in the field and make a difference in the country.
The basic level takes 3 to 4 months. So anyone that comes out of high school can basically get involved with that. You just need a high school diploma, and you can become an EMT basic within, say, 4 months. The paramedic level, there are 2 different levels that we have in the Bahamas, the EMT basic and then this paramedic. The paramedic is basically a 9-month to a year course. It's very intense. You basically take an 18-month course and compile it into 9 months to 1 year.
Today marks the end of EMS Week, an annual observance around the world. This week, local EMS personnel held several events to interact with members of the public, including an educational symposium to discuss the challenges facing first responders and ways to improve the industry. In other news, nearly 7 weeks after 3 people were killed in a runway accident on Mayaguana, the first victim has finally been laid to rest. 82-year-old Edith Cawley, mother of former Free National Movement Cabinet Minister Sidney Cawley, was funeralized today at Zion South Beach Baptist Church. The large church was packed with mourners, including several past and present members of the FNM. Former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram, former Deputy Prime Minister Brent Simonet, former Speaker of the House Alvin Smith, and opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis were among those who joined members of the Cawley family to remember and bury their loved one. Family members looked on stoically as the congregation sang hymns and the preacher spoke from the pulpit. A funeral for Cawley's sister Anna Mae Polowick will take place on June 1st at Bahamas Faith Ministries. Funeral arrangements have not yet been confirmed for her husband, Tim Polowick. The 3 were killed when a Lee Air plane crashed into their truck on the Mayaguana Airport runway on April 4th. Their remains were finally released to the families last week following a forensic evaluation in the United States. Also, many of you called our newsroom last night reporting strange lights in the sky. But don't worry, we're not being invaded by little green men. At least not yet. What you were seeing was the launching of a NASA satellite from the Cape Canaveral Air Force Base in Florida. The launch, which occurred around 8:30 last night, was supposed to happen Thursday, but was postponed until yesterday.